My name is Malcolm Turner, and what I'm about to tell you happened on an October night that changed my life forever. It was 2:37 a.m. when everything began. I'd been driving down Interstate 80, crossing Nebraska for 14 hours straight. Rain had been pounding against my windshield for hours, and the fog was so thick I could barely see the taillights of the cars ahead. My eyes felt like lead. I was exhausted, but I had to make it to Sacramento before the deadline. I couldn't afford to lose another client. That's when it happened. My eyes closed for just a few seconds. I swear it was only a few seconds. And suddenly I heard a crystal clear voice shouting my name. Malcolm, now! I woke up in absolute panic. I yanked the wheel so hard I almost tipped the truck. That's when I saw it. A semi-trailer was stopped right in front of me. No hazard lights on, almost invisible in the fog. If I hadn't woken up at that exact moment, I would have slammed into it at 70 miles an hour. I pulled over on the shoulder, shaking like a leaf. I looked around the empty cab of my Peterbilt. I was completely alone. The CB radio was off. There was no one, absolutely no one who could have shouted my name. But someone did, and they saved my life. To understand why that night mattered so much, I need to tell you who I was before it. Malcolm Turner, 47 years old, truck driver for 25 years. I used to be a different man. I was proud of my work, my family, and my faith. Every Sunday, there I was in the front row of Central Baptist Church in Akron, Ohio, with my wife Elaine and our worn leather Bible. But life has a cruel way of breaking you down piece by piece. It all started to fall apart 2 years earlier when Transamerica Freight, the company I had worked for 15 years, went bankrupt overnight. Suddenly I was unemployed at 45 with a mortgage and bills piling up like Ohio snow in winter. I found some gigs as an independent driver, but competition was brutal. I would leave home on Monday and sometimes not come back until Saturday, if at all. Bills arrived faster than my paychecks. On one of those rare trips home, I found Elaine sitting at the kitchen table, surrounded by overdue notices and a cup of cold coffee. "Malcolm," she said, not meeting my eyes, "we need to talk." I knew what was coming. We'd had this conversation before, but this time there was something different in her voice, a coldness that froze me inside. "I can't live like this anymore," she continued. "You're gone Monday through Saturday, sometimes longer. When you're home, you don't talk to me, you don't pray with me. It's like you've died inside, Malcolm." "I'm working to keep this house," I said, but even I knew it sounded hollow. Working or running away? Her words hit me like a punch to the gut because deep down, I knew she was right. I was running from bills, from problems, and especially from God. Because if God really cared about me, like Elaine always said, why'd he let my life turn into such a mess? When was the last time you opened the Bible, Malcolm? The last time you prayed for real, not just asking for money? I had no answer. I hadn't prayed in months. The words wouldn't come. It was as if God had shut off the line and left a voicemail machine in its place. "I have an appointment with a lawyer on Thursday." 22 years, Malcolm. 22 years, and now I don't even know who you are. The next morning I left for another trip. I didn't have the courage to ask if she'd still be there when I got back. Before we continue, if stories like this move you, consider subscribing to True Faith Stories. Here, we share stories of faith and the mysterious ways God still speaks today. Don't miss what's coming next. And that's how I found myself on that Nebraska highway, hauling auto parts from Detroit to Sacramento. 5 days of driving, 5 days to think, 5 days to decide if there was anything left worth fighting for. The rain had started around midnight and felt like it would never end. I turned on the CB radio now and then to hear other drivers complaining about the weather, but most of the time I drove in silence, lost in thought. I thought about Elaine, about how she used to wait at the door when I came home from trips with that smile that lit up my whole world. I thought about how we used to pray together before bed, How she made me laugh even on the hardest days. When did I stop noticing her smile? When did her prayers become background noise while I worried about money? God, I muttered in the cab, if you're out there listening, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what to believe. Maybe Elaine's right. Maybe I really did die inside. I glanced at the clock, 2:37. My eyes burned with exhaustion, my back ached, and I still had over 1,000 miles to go. Do you even care about me anymore? I whispered to the fogged-up windshield. Those were the last words I said before my eyes shut, and then came the voice that changed everything. After the near collision, I drove shaken until I found the first truck stop. Truck stop Oasis, exit 126, one of those nowhere places that serve watered-down coffee and dry sandwiches 24/7. It was almost 3 a.m. when I walked in. The clerk was a young woman who looked like she had stepped out of a Midwest movie. Blonde ponytail, spotless uniform despite the hour, chewing gum. "Good evening, or is it good morning?" she said with a practiced smile. "Coffee, strongest you got." While she poured it, I noticed an older man sitting alone at the only table in the tiny diner. He must have been about 70, hair completely white, wearing a blue and white plaid shirt and a faded fishing hat. But there was something different about him. I can't explain it, but his eyes, they were the calmest eyes I'd ever seen, like he carried a peace I completely forgot existed. "Malcolm Turner," he said, motioning to the chair across from him. I froze mid-step, coffee in hand. "Excuse me, but do we know each other?" "Not the way you think. Sit. You look like you've been through something tonight." Something about him put me completely at ease. I sat as if it was the most natural thing in the world. "How do you know my name?" He smiled again, stirring his cup slowly. "Sometimes, Malcolm, we meet people long before we ever see them. You almost died tonight," he went on, looking straight into my eyes. "How do you... and someone saved you." A chill ran down my spine. I heard a voice calling my name, but there was no one in the cab. There was. The silence that followed was unlike any silence I'd ever known. It felt like the whole world had stopped to listen. "Malcolm," he said, leaning closer, "do you believe God still watches over you?" The question hit me like a punch. I don't know what to believe anymore. My life's falling apart. My wife wants a divorce. I've lost faith in everything. And yet, someone called your name tonight. His eyes seemed to see straight into my soul, uncovering things I didn't even know were there. "You still have something very important to rebuild at home, Malcolm Turner." My heart pounded. "How do you know about..."
"Elaine still loves you. She doesn't want the divorce. She wants the man she married back." I shot up from my chair as if jolted by electricity. "Who are you? How do you know these things?" I turned to grab my wallet and pay for the coffee. When I looked back, the table was empty. I rushed to the counter. The older man who was just sitting with me, where did he go? The clerk looked at me like I had 3 heads. "What older man? You're the only customer we've had in an hour." "No, he was right there. White hair, fishing hat." "Sir, I swear to God, I haven't seen anyone but you since you walked in." I ran outside to the lot, searched every corner, checked the bathroom, the convenience store, even behind the building. Nothing. It was as if he had never existed. I couldn't sleep the rest of the night. I drove on autopilot, my mind replaying that impossible encounter. At 6 a.m., I stopped at a rest area in Colorado and did the bravest thing I'd done in years. I called home. The phone rang 4 times before Elaine picked up. "Hello?" Her voice was groggy with sleep. "Ellie, it's me." A long pause. "Malcolm? What time is it? Are you okay?" "Ellie, I need to tell you something. Something happened tonight that that changed everything. What? Did you have an accident? Almost. I almost died, Ellie. And I think Dad saved me. Silence again. I could picture her sitting on our bed, trying to process what I was saying. Malcolm, where are you? What happened? So I told her everything. The voice on the road, the near crash, the mysterious man at the truck stop. Tears streamed down my face when I reached the part about what he said about her. He said you still love me, Ellie. Said you don't really want the divorce. I heard sobs on the other end. Ellie, I'm sorry for everything. For shutting you out, for walking away from God, from us. I'm sorry for giving up when things got hard. Malcolm, she whispered through tears. Don't sign the papers. Please, give me one more chance. One last chance to be the man you deserve, the man you married 22 years ago. The silence felt endless. All I could hear was our ragged breathing through the phone line. Come home, Malcolm. Just come home, she finally said. I canceled the delivery. For the first time in years, I put my family ahead of money. I drove 15 hours straight back to Ohio, stopping only for fuel and coffee. When I pulled into the driveway the next afternoon, Elaine was waiting on the porch. The divorce papers were in pieces on the kitchen table. Tell me everything, she said, from the beginning. We sat in the living room where we used to watch TV together, and I told her the whole story again. Every detail, every word the mysterious man had spoken. Do you really believe it was God? She asked when I finished. I don't know, Ellie, but I know someone saved me that night, and I know I don't ever want to waste another second pretending I can live without you or without God. We cried together for the first time in years. Elaine went to the bedroom and came back with our old family Bible, the one my father gave me when we got married. Do you remember this? She said, flipping through the yellowed pages. Of course I remembered. It was where we had marked the verses that touched us most, where we had written our prayers during hard times. That night, for the first time in 2 years, we prayed together. We read scripture together. We talked about our dreams, our fears, our mistakes. Lord, I prayed, holding Elaine's hand, I don't know if I deserve a second chance, but thank you. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on you. 3 years have passed from that night. Elaine and I renewed our vows in the same church where we first married. I'm back serving as a deacon. We paid off all our debts and even adopted an 8-year-old girl named Grace. But to this day, I can't explain what happened that night on Interstate 80. I've been back to that truck stop twice looking for the mysterious man. The employees swear they've never seen anyone like the man I described. There are no security tapes showing he was ever there, but I know what I saw. I know what I heard. Was it an angel? Was it the voice of God himself? I have no idea. I only know one thing for certain. Without that voice calling my name, I wouldn't be alive today. And without being alive, I never would have gotten back everything that truly matters. I still drive the highways of America, but every time I pass mile marker 180 on Interstate 80, I slow down, turn off the radio, and whisper a simple prayer. Thank you for knowing my name. Because sometimes in the darkest moments of our lives, when we think God has forgotten us, He shows us He not only knows our hearts, He knows our names. What about you? Have you ever experienced something that felt like a divine intervention? Share your story in the comments below. We love reading how faith has touched your life. Thank you for listening. God bless you.